These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. It has been determined by this court, Mr. Holmes, you are not Miss Alston's father. Mr. Alston, you are not Miss Alston's father.
Why'd she do that?
Lord Hammers.
Sit her down, man.
Oh my God.
Sit down, Miss. Oh.
You see how, you know, what can just seem like a careless decision to a woman when she's younger, when it results in a child, it's devastating. Hey, it's Christine Grace. Welcome back to my channel. Today is another reaction video. Like the video on your way in. Let's get straight into it.
You claim you took Miss Mylan and her other 6 kids into your home, and now she's trying to take you for a ride by claiming this baby is yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
That the defendant betrayed you by cheating with Prince's second possible father, your best friend. You are not his father. Not. You know who Prince's father is? Cornell Mylan. It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jones, you are not the father.
I didn't know. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You are not the father moments on paternity court. A devastated man came to see if he was the father of his son or if it was his best friend who impregnated his girlfriend.
You maintain that the defendant betrayed you by cheating with Prince's second possible father, your best friend.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Fobbs, you say you were caught between the man you're in love with and his best friend.
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit you made a horrible mistake when you slept with both men. You're Mr. Pace's best friend.
Yes.
And the second potential father of Prince.
Yes, Your Honor.
When the judge asked Miss Fobbs about her relationship with Mr. Pace's best friend, this was her reaction.
When did this love triangle, this cheating, begin and how?
The situation with me and Randolph only happened once.
Was there anything else going on in the relationship other than he's just going to work?
The thing is, he works at night, so he's never really home with me, and I kind of took that as a feeling of neglect.
The audience was appalled, but the judge asked Mr. Randolph, the best friend, about how he could sleep with his best friend's girl.
How could you sleep with your best friend's girl?
I wasn't in the right state of mind. We both was intoxicated. You know, he was out promoting clubs, and she used to come home from the club intoxicated and, you know, looking for him. He's not there, me and her.
That poor kid having to hear and see all of this one day. How can you put a child through that?
Talk, and one night the talk led to something else.
How did you find out that she slept with your best friend?
We were actually in a heated argument at the time that it occurred.
Wait a minute, so you're in a heated argument as a couple, and just out of the blue she yells, and by the way, your best friend could be Prince's father?
Correct.
So far, the messed up situation was being handled very maturely until the DNA results came out.
So there's a lot riding on this result. Jerome, I think it's time for the result. Mr. Pace, you are not his father.
Truth was out. Mr. Pace was not the father of Prince. But the real drama began after that.
Oh, man.
So sorry.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. Mr. Randolph, you are not.
One of the most heartbreaking episodes of paternity court started when Miss Lockridge brought Mr. Tidwell to court to prove her claim of him being the father of her child.
Ms. Lockridge, you've dragged the defendant, Mr. Tidwell, to court because he has refused to acknowledge your 10-month-old son, King. You are 100% sure he's the father and claim today's results will prove your case. Mr. Tidwell, you say you were never in a serious relationship with Ms. Lockridge and you were stunned when she told you she was pregnant. The timing leads you to suspect that baby King's father must be another man.
The drama between the former couple kept escalating with allegations put on from both parties.
Your Honor, Mr. Tidwell does not have a relationship with my son. The only time he's actually seen my son is when I've made it a convenience for him and brought him to him. He hasn't helped with diapers. He barely helped with any clothes, and it hurts.
She has another guy that she was sleeping with.
There was nobody else.
We weren't
Snoop, I'm not gonna drive. I'm not gonna ride the bus 4 hours.
We were not
take
in a
3
serious
buses to
relationship
come
or
sleep
no
with you
type
if I got that in my
relationship
backyard,
like that.
though.
It was just
really
sex. And
have you seen me though? Because
She's
he doesn't
obsessed
treat me
with
the
me,
way.
Your Honor.
I am not obsessed with you. If I was obsessed with you, there wouldn't be nobody else.
Oh. Okay. Got that.
The defendant named the baby and then refused to accept it. Over this, his reaction was jaw-dropping.
The birth certificate. There's no dad's name on it. That's all I want today. And if my son's name is King Tidwell, he needs the man that named him King Tidwell to be in his life.
You named the child
I gave her the name that I wanted my son to have.
because at that moment
And
you
she
thought,
put it on there. Exactly. Yes, Your Honor.
at that moment you thought the baby
Yeah.
was yours. Then later on you started to believe he was not because of what you heard
No, what I've seen. Her
and what
actions.
you've seen.
Only when the results were out, an emotional outburst rocked the court.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. Mr. Tidwell, you are not his father.
I'm sorry. From the bottom of my broken heart, Wallace Tidwell, I'm sorry. And to your whole family, I apologize. I have no idea who his dad is at this point.
We knew that.
I'm sorry, but I didn't sleep.
It's okay. Calm easy. Oh, just here with you. I'm not gonna leave you. Calm down.
And he is going to take good care of her.
I don't even feel ethical reacting to this. This is someone's family, man. Oh, these poor kids.
I'm not gonna shun her out. We love this baby.
I really appreciate it, Mom.
Next on the list is a 32-year-old woman named Donna Alston searching for her biological father.
Ms. Alston, you've come to court to prove to the defendant, Mr. Holmes, whom you first met at the age of 15, that you are his biological daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say her biological father is David Alston, the man who is on her birth certificate and paid child support for her.
Miss Alston strongly felt that Mr. Holmes was her father and not Mr. Alston, whom her mother was married to.
How you first found out the defendant might be your father?
Well, Mr. Alston and my mom were married. So one summer I was going outside to play, and my mom was outside talking to a guy. And when I walked up, he was like, tell her. And she looked at me and said, "This is your uncle. This is your dad's brother." I proceeded to meet the family, which is my younger brother, my grandmother, aunts and uncles, and they embraced me like if they knew me from day one. So I have always assumed that Mr. Alston was my dad because his name was on my birth certificate. But at 15, she told me that Mr. Holmes can be my dad.
The defendant, Mr. Holmes, was confident that Donna was not his daughter despite loving and caring for her for years.
Mr. Holmes, you don't believe she's your biological child?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Why? Explain to the court.
Back in the day, she was like fast. And because I met her at the school bus stop. She was in high school. And 2 days later, after I met her, I had sex with her. I called her again a couple days later, asked her to come back, and we had sex again. So it was kind of like a booty call.
Things flared up between the two suspects in the courtroom when it came to abandoning the girl.
So when you say Mr. Alston abandoned you, did you try to have a relationship with him and he rejected you? How did he abandon you?
I tried to have a relationship with him and spend time with him. He wouldn't have time for me.
Yes, that's my daughter. There's no way in the world I would not think that
excuse me, Your
that's my
Honor. He
daughter.
calls me his daughter sitting here, but he's never been a dad to me.
But she says she tried to have a relationship with you and you rejected her.
No,
Yes.
when I moved, no, what happened is when I moved away, when I got remarried, it seemed like all that, that's when the anger started coming through.
The results came and they shocked everyone, leaving Miss Alston crying and sobbing.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. It has been determined by this court, Mr. Holmes, you are not Miss Alston's father. Mr. Alston, you are not Miss Alston's
Get
father.
Why is she doing that?
Lord have mercy.
Sit her down, man.
Oh my God.
Sit down, Miss. Oh.
You see how, what can just seem like a careless decision to a woman when she's younger, when it results in a child, it's devastating. I myself have gone through something nowhere near on this level, but as most of you know, I'm adopted, and when my birth mother was initially pregnant with me, they were unsure who my father was. A DNA test was done, obviously, once I was placed up for adoption, because they needed to determine who the father was to see if the father would be willing to take me in. And a DNA test was done that proved who my biological father was. Later in life, when, trying to find out a bit about where I came from, who was my biological family, I found my biological father, and he didn't really want to know, and he even suggested that I wasn't his child, even though I knew a paternity test had already been done. And the family demanded that I do a DNA test to prove who I was, suggested I had some kind of ulterior motives as to want to know my biological family, and I paid for a paternity test, and I knew he was my father, and I wouldn't call him my father, but my biological father, and proved that I was, and even after that it wasn't sufficient enough for them. But I remember when I was asked to prove who I was, even though I already knew, I had documentation that a previous paternity test had been done when I was a baby. I remember when they wanted more proof, the kind of existential crisis I felt all of a sudden, what if what I thought was true isn't true? And, all these thoughts go through your head, like, what if he's actually not? Even though I had this proof that he was, that's 20-year-old evidence, it just kind of went through my head, what if he's not? What if he's not? Obviously he was, it all went through court and everything. They wouldn't use a faulty DNA test. He was. But just for about a week, I went through that, existential crisis of what if he's not, what if he's not, then who would it be kind of thing. Horrible place to be. I have a great relationship with my adopted parents. So for me, it was more just a sense of wanting to know where I came from. And even in that, it was still kind of very scary thinking, what if it's not him? So for this lady who has not had a paternal relationship with a father, to have all of that lying on who is it, to then find out she has no idea who it is, having experienced nothing comparable to this, a speck of sand compared to what this is. My heart just really goes out to her. I can't imagine the dread, the panic, the hopelessness that she must be feeling right now.
Ow. Oh my God.
A woman came to the court to see if her mother's boyfriend was the father of her 3-month-old son.
Ms. Holdhouse, you are...
Yeah, we're going to stop that there, because this is just... I don't even know why people air these things in public. It's fucking awful. There's children involved. Yeah, it's absolutely awful, and it's absolutely disgusting that this is even a thing in terms of, being out in the public. I guess it's a double-edged sword, it's out in the public, and unfortunately that means that the children are eventually going to see this one day. But I guess on the flip side, it highlights the fact that these things do happen. These things happen, and people are really irresponsible with who they are sleeping with, and they end up in these situations. And, it's the children who suffer. You just saw that lady there, a full-grown woman who is having to experience that now, who her whole life now seems like a lie. Can you imagine the pain of that? It's hard to even imagine, but it just highlights how important it is that you are responsible, especially as women, with who you're sleeping with. It's not just fun and games. It's not just something you can do and not reap any consequences. There are consequences to everything in this life. And you need to take things seriously. But hey, that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments section below? A really touchy subject today, so I'm sorry for the dismal theme. But like I said, this is the reality of the world that we're living in. So yeah, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up on the way out. Every single bit of engagement with this video helps me. It helps me get on the algorithm and helps my videos get out to more of you. And yeah, if you'd like to subscribe, click that subscribe button right here and head over to Playlist to check out all of my other content. And I will see you very soon in the next one. Take care.